Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be going over a Russia-inspired region of Pokemon that I made with the images through ChatGPT. I made everything else by me, the stories that I made and the images that I made for the Pokemon kind of Pokedex. I'm just going to kind of show you a little bit of what I made, generated. I think this was really cool. It's really fun to do. If you just go on to ChatGPT, if you pay the extra $20 or any like Dolly, you can make a lot of these images yourself. So, yeah, let's get into it. So, we got Russia, the Pokemon region. So, first off, in the middle here, this major area, we got Siberia City. It's pretty much the hub of this region. You're going to have, I put the Elite Four here. I think that'd be a cool area to have. You know, they're towering over everything else. Maybe at the top of it, you have your champion or something like that, and you have maybe even like a legendary Pokemon spawn up there or something like that. That'd be really cool. So yeah, just the Elite Four. You maybe got some shopping malls where you can go change your outfits in and stuff like that. Get some Russian inspired outfits. You got a Tundraville, which is going to be down here. This is going to be where Yaga lies, which is the bad person / villain person of this region. And this is where they're raised at. I'll explain a little bit of them later. Over here, we got Rivera Port, which is a university town, pretty much just a college town, and that's where our protagonist is going to be at, along with the professor of the school, which is going to be kind of the professor of the game, like Professor Oak and stuff like that. So moving on, we got Vera. Now this is our protagonist. Vera was raised in a higher class family, so she's kind of like rich, you know. She's not super rich, but she's not poor. She ain't doing bad, you know. She's doing pretty good. Through her smarts and basically inherited wealth, she was able to get into this college, which was a pretty esteemed college over in Riverport, which is over here. While in college, she meets Professor Larch. And Professor Larch, I'll explain him a little bit later. But he pretty much convinces her to switch from her major to research Pokemon. And she graduates from the college to become a buffer, basically the NPCs you fight like when you enter into the gyms, before you fight the gym leader. She's one of those. So she becomes kind of like a buffer type Pokemon trainer as she learned through basically her training in college. On her way going through the ranks to become a gym leader. So I would imagine to become a gym leader, you would have to get pretty good at being the buffer NPCs. You know what I'm saying? So you win, you beat a bunch of people coming in, and then you get promoted to the gym leader. So, on her way to becoming gym leader, Yaga comes in. She decides that she doesn't like people, or Pokemon for that matter, and decides to poison the gym leader's Pokemon, putting it into like a coma-like state. And seeing this, Vera doesn't know what to do, so she recalls her Pokemon that are out on the field right now, and she runs out of the gym. So that's Vera. This is Yaga. So Yaga was born. Okay, so by the way, the backstory of this, there's actually a witch from Russian history called Baba Yaga. So I'm just shortening down to Yaga, but this is like a direct rip from that. So here we go. Born into a large family that was forced out of society by practicing witchcraft. So this person, their family practiced witchcraft. They were just born into it, so they kind of grew up with it. So they got stuck with that societal, basically outcast type thing. Because they got outcast, she was raised to hate Siberia City. So she was basically raised to hate this area that she was born into. With that said, with that hatred and not knowing any different, she grew up very pessimistic and didn't like what's going on. So with that being said, this legendary like Pokemon shows up, and it's a deer that's dressed up like the forest attire. It has like kind of like maybe a cape of grass on it or something like that. And they can stand on two legs. And it promises her if she helps it bring Pokemon to it, it would help her overtake Siberia. So she does just that. And many Pokemon in the forest that she lives in basically disappear, and there's only a few species that could escape basically her grasp. So she just couldn't find them. Maybe they're good at hiding. Maybe they flew high and she couldn't grab them or anything like that. So once these Pokemon ran out, Yaga made a plan and attacked the nearest Pokemon gym for more Pokemon. So that's where we get the ending of Vera's story. Now this is Professor Larch. So he's a ranger, pretty much from the Ranger series. So he was a ranger. He got recruited to the university, and he teaches Pokemon now. But because he's an ex-ranger and he was pretty high up, and he was that for most of his life, he's using basically his teaching job as almost a recruiting gateway to get people to become a ranger. And seeing Vera's substantial smartness and the willingness to learn and persevering through hard challenges in her school, he goes up to Vera and he's like, hey dude, like, you want to be part of the Rangers, kinda? And he's like, I'll train you. So Vera, as you heard earlier, she's like, yeah, that's cool. So Vera's all like, alright, cool, we're training to be Pokemon people now. Pokemon trainers. So Vera completes his course, and she's sent off to the gym to be a buffer trainer, as I said earlier. But Professor Larch gets knowledge of Yaga's habits and presence, and basically, through the Rangers, they went over to her land and saw that all the Pokemon were either dead or not there. So, you know, being Rangers, they report back to Professor Larch, and they're like, hey dude, yeah, Yaga, not cool. Yaga is not cool. She's killing everything. So Professor Larch is like, alright, I think I need new people to join my crew. So he tries to go over. He goes over to the gym that Vera's at. Before he gets there, he's like, alright, time to go see Vera. And then he sees Vera running out, and he's kind of surprised. He's like, what's happening? So Vera's like running out like all frantically and stuff. And then Larch looks over, and in the front of the entrance has this deer thing with a grass cloak on it, looking down at some Pokemon that are kind of like dead or comatose on the floor. Doesn't know what to think of it. He doesn't really haven't seen this thing before. But he can kind of tell this isn't good, and this is most likely Yaga. So, that's that story. Time for the Pokemon. So first off, we got Figmos. And I made up all these stories, by the way. I made up all the descriptions. Yeah, everything that's not art is pretty much mine. And I made the background for this. So, this Pokemon was based off a tree. It was a fig tree. I think it was called a weeping fig tree or something like that. It's very close to it. It was weeping fig, let's just call it that. But it was weeping in its name. So I made it cry. And I like this design a lot. I like the little arm with the little apricot thing / figs. I don't really think it's figs, but it looks like apricots and looks cute. Kind of looks like a starter, so that's what I went with. You know, it's kind of small, like foot tall, 60 pounds because it's a tree. Its stats are horrible because it's a first stage. But the description is, falling from their parents, Figmos cry every morning to call them back. They're sad, man. Their parents abandoned them. You know what I'm saying? Now, it evolves into Fenormus, and it gains the secondary type of fighting. And Fenormus is 10 feet tall and weighs 600 pounds. This dude is massive. This is a big Pokemon. Its HP is huge. Its physical stat is big, and I'm wrapping physical with defense and, I guess defense, maybe attack. Let's just wrap attack and defense into that. Didn't think too much through that. My bad. Anyway, Fenormus. The description. It's a result of a Figmos not finding their parents, resulting in them needing to fend for themselves, not caring for anyone, even their offspring. So even though they were super sad growing up, man, they do not care. They are pissed off at the world. They couldn't find anybody to love them. They don't even care about their own young. So it just repeats the cycle. It's sad. It's really sad. Next up, we got Imster. Now, I like this one because it's a Russian dwarf hamster, and I actually have one. It's named Stella, and I do have one of these in real life, so I was pretty drawn to this one. So I made it a fire type. Here we go. Imster. Height is 1 feet. This is a tall hamster, 2 pounds in weight. It's mainly fluff, and that's how they are in real life, too. Stats, horrible. Makes sense, though. Description. Imster likes to hide in a tunnel underground to a central location, where many families of Imsters gather, making a cozy home together. So they kind of, I imagine as basically they gather into like a little like hub area. They maybe like set up a dinner table somewhere, and they like kind of get, you know, they're all fire based, so they get a little bit warm. Maybe they even like put their hand out, make a little flame on their hand, like torch touching a candle, lighting the candle on fire, like the Shrek scene. And it's, you know, they're having a good time. Maybe they even like have warm sheets 24/7. That good feeling when you get in a cold day, like their sheets are always warm because they're hot. Yeah, this is a cool Pokemon. Next up, we got Burrot. Now, I named it Burrot for the reason of I like the name. So I gain a second type of normal. It's 5 foot now. This thing is massive. It means business. It's 190 pounds, so we're talking this basically your average human size. It's higher in physical stat. Its special is horrible because I just cannot see this guy at all becoming like a special attacker. This dude is full bulk and straight up just attacking. So the description is, after vigorous training, an Imster can evolve into a Burrot, gaining the title of Guardian of the Family. Burrots defend all Imsters if they are in danger. This Pokemon goes up and beats up other Pokemon or anybody around them that even just tries to touch an Imster. If it even shows aggression towards the Imster, it goes up and beats them up. It tries to save its family at all costs. So that was what Burrots do. Next up, we got the water starter. Otuga or Otka. I can't believe I made this name. I liked how it sounded on Google Translate, so I kept it, but I think it's like Otka. So, it's a water type. It's based off the Siberian tiger. And this one has the best base stats out of all three of them, just because I think it deserves it being more or less a like completed. Like it looks more actually. I don't know. It looks more like a solid animal based off of. So it looks stronger by default because it's like based off a tiger. So I gave it more of a stronger stat base. So it weighs 70 pounds. You know, kind of like a big dog. You can think of a big dog. Or like a medium-sized dog, like a German Shepherd. So the description is, it lives on high peaks of mountains. Utkas adapt to see clearly at nighttime, have adapted to see clear at nighttime, at which they hunt in nearby rivers where they're strong with their strong swimming capability. So, like tigers, they can swim, and that's why I made a water type. And if that's not the case, then I totally missed that, but I'm pretty sure they can swim, and they're going to be catching salmon with their fangs. And they're going to be catching their Pokemon in the water, and they're apex predators, obviously, because they're tigers, and they're cool. Next up, we got Lunagur. So this is a fairy water type. Now, this one becomes very big, and I didn't actually mean to put this at 70 pounds, but we'll keep it at that. And the height is totally off, too. Don't look at that. So basically, this is the special. I had to make it special because that just makes sense. So this Pokemon is super high in special. Its physical sucks, and the special comes from mainly fairy, and it looks really cool. So that's why I gave it a lot. The description is, here we go. Once a year during a full moon at midnight, at the highest peak of Siberia, while drinking from the fresh river next to 3 other Otkas, one Otka pushes another into the river as a joke, but when they come up, they become a Lunagur. That's the description. To expand upon further, the Lunagurs are like, they're super strong. They get like moon charge. This is what I thought of in my mind. So when they get moon charge, they can like shoot moon beams, like the move. And yeah, this Pokemon looks cool, and leave it at that. So anyway, thank you for listening to my Russian region Pokemon entry, and I hope to make more in the future. Have a good day.